So, we're doing an extra video this month because I've just got to pull the magical, exciting, super amazing box of finishes out to put some more finishes in there. So I thought I'd go through it and do a little finish tour. This is not all of my finish projects, just the ones that live in the box. For anyone who is new, or just as a reminder, I'm Gothy. My pronouns are they, them. I am a queer, trans, disabled stitcher from Australia. It's goblin chaos over here, is the vibe, all the time. So, this is the box of finishes. I'm just fiddling with things on my desk to move them out of the way. This lives on my bookshelf. It is not as full as it appears, straight up, because some projects do get fully finished and they get put around the house. So, like, I have a few that are framed on bookshelves. I've got a few that are on walls. There's a bunch that get gifted. These are just the finished projects that are not fully finished, because I have new ones to put in there until I decide what I'm doing with them. Being last month's finish for Whipco, the Into the Jungle Stitchalong Bifrosted Pumpkin Stitchery, 16 count Opal Ada from Colour Cascade Fabrics is going to go into the box. It's probably going to go to the bottom of the box, but and then also got this little Quirky Quaker. This is also Colour Cascade. I think it might have been an ice dye. It's not one of their regular colours, I don't think. This was just like a scrap of 20 count. Stitched with Brain. You literally just bought from them. Cottage Garden Threads. There we go. So that's going to go into the box. The finish from the month before, from June, which is Pretty Little Sydney by Satsuma Street again. Oh, that is really washed out. Camera does not like that one too much. You can't really see the purple bits that are in the fabric. But that's also stitched on Colour Cascades fabric. And then this one until I decide what to do with it. This is a finish, also Colour Cascades. I don't remember what colorway off the top of my head. But the pattern is from Squooshys Stitch Bits. Squishy Stitch Bits, it's one of the ones. So, this is the box of finishes. It is, I mean, it's not too bad, considering. There are a whole bunch of stuff in here, so I thought I would just do a tour. And I'm just trying to, like, position this so I'm not just crushing my keyboard at the same time. So, I have a bunch of little ones on the side here. So, this is, like, self-charted. But I did, like, a little Jason and Freddy keyring, which is in here. These are a bunch of, like, kit finishes. Oh no, these ones are also self-charted. These are all the little ones that I did. So, like, little Batman, Nick Fury. These were, like, I was playing around with designing some, like, little quick stitches. So these were some of the ones that I did. I should put them up in my Ko-Fi, because, yeah, there's a Captain America and a Superman. As I say, as I cover half of Captain America's face. But I used to do those on, I used to use, like, an old math notebook and just played around with that while I was at TAFE. So then some of these are just magazine kits. So this is World of Cross Stitching. This is like a little bird. Again, these are stuff that I used to do for TAFE. So I used to just take little projects with me. It's also World of Cross Stitching. This one, World of Cross Stitching. That's gonna be so much plastic sound. Maybe I should rip the Home Sweet Home out and replace it with something else. I don't know what these ones are. These are also just cards. Oh my gosh. The glare. There we go. And then little mice in a teacup, the glare, the angle because of the glare. And then this is a card that I didn't actually mount in the thing. So yeah, just lots of little finishes I could use as gifts whenever, I guess. But then we have the actual pile of finishes, and we're going to pull it out. Oh, Jesus. And the reason we are pulling it out is because Into the Jungle is going right down the bottom, because I lost the serotonin for it, and it's going to live down there for a little while. And that's just how things are. That is how things go sometimes. These are going to go down there as well. Not because they've lost serotonin, but just because... Actually, no, I'll leave this on top. Okay. So, finishes. These are those finishes over the years. And some of them have stories and some of them don't. So, this one... Most of these will be on... If it's not just like a white or a black fabric, it's probably going to be colour cascade fabrics. If I remember what the colourways are, I will advise. I think that is Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. I want to say it's Frosted Pumpkin. Just a little quick stitch. And then this is the Universal Monster Sal by the Witchy Stitcher. Someone in the Facebook group did the Skull Moon, and then someone did a Blood Moon version of the skull. I changed the colours of the windows on the top to make it a gradient, and I picked green instead of, I think it was grey originally. It's Colour Cascade Fabrics. It is Opal and 18 count, and it's Black Cold Sun. I, of course, picked Vincent Price for my extra, like the very final one. Because I share a birthday with Vincent Price. So, of course I'm going to pick Vincent Price. It's not just because, you know, he's Goth Dad, or Goth Granddad, Great Granddad. It's because we share a birthday. And I'm just going to reorganize these, because they've just fallen everywhere. That is great. Cool. Alright, this one is... I want to say this is also Frosted Pumpkin. Black Hat Society. I finished this ages ago. And it's just kind of sat in here. This was fun, actually. This stitched up really quickly. I remember I took this to one of the Colour Cascade retreats. So I took it with me to Perth at one point. And then ink circles. So this was one of my old travel projects, so I used to keep this in my handbag. It's a scrap of Silver Springs. It's not showing up super clearly. It's just washing out a lot. But I used a hand-dyed floss from Fiberlicious. It was one of the Halloween ones. So I think I only had enough to do this small one. And I think I've got a little bit left in my stash, but it's not much. But that used to be my travel project. So that just kind of lives in there. So this one needs a little bit of a wash because there's a few marks, but they're mostly on the back. Well, no, they're not. Okay. So this is one of the Bewitching Pixies. So this one is Emmy. I don't know what the hell that little dot is inside of the bow, but that shits me off. That pisses me off a little. It's been in the box for a reason. But it is sparkly. This is also Colour Cascades. It's a blue fabric. Oh my god, I just dropped it on the ground. Alright, we're going to ignore that I just dropped it. But, yeah, clearly it needs a wash. Oh, it's not. Is it coming up too badly? No, it's not coming up too badly there. Okay. There are some marks on it, so it needs a bit of a wash. But we'll get there. Because I'm stitching all of the Bewitching Pixies on blue fabrics, I'm kind of waiting until they're all done so that I can get them framed. So that they're kind of matching at least. Because I guess I'm scared of going to get them framed and then like finishing another one and going back to get the same one, and like maybe that frame is gone, or like that or like they can't do it the same, and like then they're all different, and I don't want them to do that. But yeah. And then this one, this is a freebie. His fringe is not happy. This is a freebie from the Witchy Stitcher that I converted to green. I think the original one is in pink. I did it in green, and he's got like a little fringe. So it's just very messy at the moment. It's supposed to be like a little emo fringe. But he's cute. I did that for the Pixel Stitch Discord. They are doing it. It never finished, like it never officially finished. But they were doing like a Pixel Stitch, like a cross-stitching RPG. Like Dungeons and Dragons type thing, but you'd like work on projects or like finish projects and stuff. So that was really cool. I did a bunch of projects for that. So then, this is a kit. This is Bothy threads. So that's all. It's the kit Ada, so it's not serged or anything. I don't have a serger, so we don't do that. This one, I've done 2 of the Bothy Threads kits. This was the better of the 2 to stitch. The other one was the worst. You're supposed to like fluff the tail up. I didn't have too much luck doing it. Like there's a bit of fluff to it because they give you a piece of my brain is not functioning with the words today. Like Velcro to pull the fuzzy fibers out. The fuzzy. Yeah. And then we have another freebie from this one's Doreen Jones. I am directionally challenged at the best of times. Again, this was the Pixel Stitch RPG prompt. And then this one was also Pixel Stitch. This is my first attempt at Blackwork. It is... I mean, it looks cool. If you look too closely, you'll see the many mistakes. But it is... oh my god, not going to focus 100%. It is a D20 full of my little D20s. It is very cute. I got the pattern off Etsy. I will do my best to try and remember to link them down, but I used some like variegated flosses. And I just changed to a different floss in each section. Because I thought that was cool. Another Etsy problem. I have an Etsy problem. This is another Etsy pattern. Yeah, it's just some scrap Ada. I think this might also be color cascades. Because it is serged, so I assume that all of the serged ones are color cascades. But this was super quick. This was also a Pixel Stitch RPG prompt. This was a kit finish. Some dragonflies. I subbed out, oh my gosh, all of the French knots for beads because I hate French knots with a goddamn passion and I am terrible at them. So, beads. I love beads. I keep a stash of random beads so that I can continue to avoid doing French knots. This is the other Bothy Threads kit. It's all the kit Ada and everything. So you kind of lose some of the snowballs on there, but they are there. This one was the fucking worst for the backstitch. My neighbor's child is screaming. Now this one is a project with a story. So this one also needs a wash, honestly. So this is my first ever cross stitch that I ever did. It looks really patchy. It's not actually that patchy in real life. It's just, yeah. This is my first ever cross stitch. I did this when this was this was the year 2001 was when I learnt cross stitch. Basically, the long story short is that I didn't have friends. So I didn't have friends, and I got bullied a lot at school for not having friends and not fitting in. And this was before I was goth, like before I did the goth change. So it's kind of funny that I picked the Bat Baby, but I wouldn't go out on the playgrounds on breaks. I would just sort of walk around the school blocks where the classrooms and stuff were and just eat my lunch while I was walking. And, you know, then that way, like, if I heard people, I could just go a different way or go back the way I came and hide and whatever. 'Cause bullies. So one of the teachers, my English teacher at the time, took pity on me, essentially, and was like, oh, well, look, I eat lunch in my classroom some days, so on those days you can come sit in the classroom with me, because, like, the rules here are, like, you can't have students unattended in the classroom. So she was like, I have my lunch in here, you can come sit in here and read a book or do whatever. She used to cross-stitch, and during those sort of breaks and stuff like that, she would sometimes sit and cross-stitch. So I was just like, oh, like, you're cross-stitching. I know what cross-stitch is, because my grandmother does it, but she's never taught me. Probably because that would mean she'd have to actually spend time with me. And, yeah, she was like, oh, well, do you want to learn? So I gave her a little bit of money to get me some, like, fabric and some floss stuff, and we picked out a pattern. These are this is from the Animal Babies series. The designer is Ellen Mauer-Stroh. I probably butchered that. They used to be released free every month. So there used to be these ones, and she also had, it's either Dragon Dreams or Dragon Dreaming, but they used to do the birthstone, like the gemstone dragons. They used to also be like a free monthly kind of pattern. So she had a bunch of those to pick from, and I picked Bat Baby. I didn't do the back stitching because we had falling out. So, like, before I finished the cross stitching, I had a falling out with this teacher, just regarding some trauma stuff and everything. So I didn't end up going back to her to learn to learn to do the backstitch. So I just never did the backstitch. I have actually restitched this pattern since this, so, like, I thought it would be cool to do it side by side, and that one was gifted to someone. So if I still have photos of the restitched one, I will pop them in. But yeah, that's my first ever project. So I've just cut it around. This one was a freebie from Son of a Stitch. I stitched it on a big piece of fabric because I wasn't going to use the fabric for anything else because it's pink, and I don't really fuck with pink. I subbed out, like, this was done, the middle part was done in white thread on the pattern. I just switched it out for a variegated rainbow. And it just says blow me. Because it's a bubble. You blow bubbles. Blow me. I love it. I thought it was great. And that was on the Patreon for them. So this one is definitely not safe for work. I mean, it's not horribly out there, but yeah, I found this on, I think I want to say Pinterest, and it happened. I stitched it, and it's hilarious. I should frame that and put that up somewhere. I should absolutely do that. I am very much a fan of snarky and, you know, subversive stitching, so this is another piece of Silver Springs. This is another, it looks like it is another just piece of, like, remnant, but another snarky, not safe for work. Yeah. It should be valid and fair. So this is another animal baby, and this one I need to actually trim the fabric down because I might actually leave this out and do that because it's on this huge piece of fabric. So I might do that. I don't know why I just put it into the box and did it, probably because spoons. But we have, this is another one of the animal babies. This is the Dragonfly baby. I did this a couple of years ago. This fabric is a mis-dye of Welcome to the Jungle by Color Cascade Fabrics. And it's an 18 count. I remember this one. What I love doing with these ones though is when I'm stitching them, I don't stitch the eyes. Like I'll stitch the faces and everything, and like everything but the eyes and the back stitch on the eyes to the very last thing because they look so creepy with no eyes, and I just dig that because it's me. And then this is also a remnant piece, so there's like weird offcuts. This is an opal. I want to say that this is also a, yeah, it is, it's got the tag. This is back in black, and this is 14 count. So these are Etsy patterns as well, because I love Furbies. I love Furbies. I want a long Furby so fucking bad. I've seen a spider one. Oh my god. I need long Furbies in my life. But Furbies are creepy, and I dig the creep. So there's actually a second piece that goes to that one. So that is the first one. And this, yes. This is the second. I love them. I love how creepy they are. I never had one myself as a child. That would probably have changed my opinion. Maybe. So this one is also a Black Hole Sun Color Cascades. It's an 18 count. This was one of the Steotch Alongs. I don't remember what year. Home is where the Murlocs, Murgle, and the Alliance burn, because I main Horde. Which is funny, because I have Alliance characters as well, but I consider myself a Horde player. That is my bread and butter. So, I had someone in the group, in the Facebook group, help me chart the custom ending. So that was fun. This is an 18 count, also Black Hole Sun. Great song, great piece of fabric. So this is a Halloween one by Tiny Modernist. I want to say, yes, it is Tiny Modernist, and it is super cute. Everything was stitched as is except for the Happy Halloween at the bottom, where I used one of the Halloween Fiberlicious flosses for that one. And then we have, this is a Witchy Stitcher. So this is old maps. This is, I think it's Gold Digger old map style. It's darker than it looks on the camera, but this is Color Cascade Fabrics as well. This is the Cryptid Stitchalong by the Witchy Stitcher. So everything except for the moons on the sides is stitched as is. I know that there were a lot of people making a lot of changes, and I kind of got the vibe from a few posts in the group that maybe wasn't vibing, like that the designer wasn't maybe vibing with people making so many drastic changes. So even though there was some really cool ones being shared, I was just like, no, I'm gonna stitch it as it is. And the only thing that I did was just change the color of the moons, because the color that they were charted in was just gonna clash a little too much with the fabric. Just be a little too close to the fabric. I do have the Supernatural Stitchalong, and the same vibe. I'm going to be stitching it as charted on a piece of fabric similar to this so that they kind of match. But I haven't started that yet. This is another freebie from Witchy Stitcher. It's just a cute little thing, little vampire. I thought it was cute. This one is, these I got off Etsy, and the fabric is, I think it's just as I got Halloween fabric. This is my attempt at making a a pillow. I am not a sewer, full disclosure. Oh no, it wasn't a pillow. This one was going to be a wall hanging, except I kind of fucked up on the top, which you'll see because like it is not straight. I mean, it's fine because neither am I, but like to make a wall hanging, it needs to at least be sort of straight. But they're the Halloween starters. I got these off Etsy. Any patterns that from Etsy and stuff, like I'll do my best to link all the patterns if they're still around. Some of them may not be, but I'm so happy. And like the fabric, I think I have some scrap remnants of this fabric somewhere too, but it just kind of lives in there because I'm disappointed because it did not turn out straight, and because I don't know how to sew. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, and I'm pretty sure I did do that with the sewing machine too. So this is one of the cat patterns from Alessandra Adelaide Needleworks, AAN. And I did it in a custom made Fiberlicious floss that I had done in the colors of this jerk over here. So this is Illidan, who's just going to ignore me now. Illidan. Remember this? Remember this? Why the fuck are you shoving this in my face? Yeah. So I got a bunch of like floss done up in the colors that he was as a kitten. So he's, it could also just be my lighting. He's a little bit darker now because he's older. But when I did this, he was much younger and just like that little touch of bright orange. So that is a custom floss one. I should do one for Arthas now, but I need to find another similar pattern that's not quite the same. This was an Etsy. I know the designer. It's in my brain. I just can't pull it out of my brain. But it is another snarky one. I did this in my TAFE class when I was doing my library course. So I was stitching this while I was learning to be a library technician. So, and then this one is Cloud's Factory. This is an Opal Ada from Color Cascades, and it's Sailor fucking Moon. Which is relevant, because Sailor Moon. I'm also, you can't see them, I'm wearing my Sailor Moon pants from Black Milk, so, Black Milk clothing. Sailor Moon. So that one's Cloud's Factory. I haven't done too many of their stuff. Housemaid is home, so there may be background noise. Then this was another Pinterest one, and then I decided it did have a border, and I just decided I couldn't be bothered to do the border, so I just called it finished. And this is still a sentiment that is true to this day. The fabric is Color Cascades, the floss is Fiberlicious. I don't remember the colours for either, but we are calling that finished. And then I did this pattern, this is a freebie, also from Witchy Stitcher. I stitched this all in the greens, the really light green. is the sparkly DMC. I don't even want to say the word because I know I'm going to butcher. But the sparkly DMC. This was my first time stitching on. This is linen. So I went to a cross-stitch retreat for Colour Cascades. This was the... I did two. So there's one in 2019 and one in 2017. And I think this was... I think this was the 2019 retreat. But basically, Tammy, who runs Colour Cascades and was running the retreat, was trying to convince me to start stitching on linen and like even weaves and stuff, because some of them do dye much better than Ada in some cases. But also just to expand and stuff. So she gave me a piece of like misdyed linen, and I stitched on linen for the first time while I was there. So this is a freebie from Witchy Stitcher, and the amusing thing is, in the hotel where we were doing the retreat, and this was 2019 now that I'm thinking about it, because it was the year that I didn't stay in the same hotel. I stayed at a hotel down the road. It turned out that's a good thing because the hotel has two little sort of convention-y rooms that you can book out. So we had one, and the other one was being booked by a Catholic couples retreat. So they were like basically doing like I try not to judge religious beliefs and stuff like that, and I know it's a hot topic, but they were some of the rudest goddamn people, and I kept having run-ins with them because like I'd have to leave the sort of convention area to go to the accessible bathroom in the general part of the hotel, and I kept having them like push in front of me to go into the accessible bathroom instead of going to the non-accessible bathrooms, and like they'd just be like, well, I'm here for a retreat, so I need to use this bathroom before you do. It's like, okay, do you need rails and extra space to be able to use the bathroom? No. Well, I do, because I need to get my fucking wheelchair in there. So maybe try the other one. And it's just, they kept giving me filthy looks and stuff, and like, I mean, look, I'm a very obvious goth. So the fact that this was the freebie that I sort of picked up on and had all the stuff for to try out stitching on linen, next to, because like we heard all their bullshit the whole weekend as well, and there was like stuff like, oh, like you've got to invite God into your bedroom and God will show you the way how to please your husband and stuff. I'm just, so many fucking thoughts. So many thoughts. So it was just a very fitting pattern and finish for that particular retreat. And I have stitched on even weave since, which is the next one, which is a scrap piece of even weave, and this was my first little chatelaine attempt. I'm not game enough to try full chatelaine. They're also really expensive to kit, but this was a freebie. So it's got a bunch of, like, it's got eyelets and smearners and a bunch of other things I don't remember the names for. And a bunch of beads and lots of sparkly shit. That's not really picking up too well. But it is super sparkly in real life. It is... So basically for this one, there is a streamer that I watch who was doing a lot of cross-stitch streams, is only just sort of coming back to doing streams because live stuff happens. Their username's Aurora Lee, but she basically did like a stitch along with the Chatelaine freebie, because she stitches... I mean, she stitches a lot of like mirrors and stuff like that. She's done a bunch of Chatelaines. So she was like, oh, like, we'll do, like, a Stitchalong, just, like, the regulars for the stream and everything. And she even offered, like, little kits. Not, like, trying to sell the design or anything, because it's a freebie. But, like, because she was going to be leading it, she bought a bunch of supplies. So I ended up getting a bunch of the flosses and stuff from her. And I still actually have a bunch of the, remnants from doing this. There's lots of, like, sparkly threads, and there's some silks in there, and yeah, it was actually really fun, because we all stitched together over a weekend and finished it up. This is a kit from that Cross-Stitch Magic set of magazines that I mentioned in my actual floss tube video for the month. This was meant to be a Father's Day thing. The kit came with, like, the card and everything to mount it on, and it's like, Happy Father's Day, and, like, I don't have a relationship with my biological father. There's many reasons why that is the case, so I threw all of that part out and just kept the stitching, and, like, at some point I will do something kind of snarky / subversive with it. Reclamation or something, I don't know, but something will happen with it eventually. This is a scrap piece of silver springs. This was another travel project. It's another ink circles. DMC 310. And a Fiberlicious. I think it might have been Cosmos. I don't know. Don't quote me on that, floss. But it was a Fiberlicious one. Super pretty, nice and easy. This is an Etsy pattern. It's just a white 8er, but it is opal. Is it gonna sparkle? Not really. Sparkle? No. It doesn't want to sparkle. It's fine. I don't know much about these as I thought. This was, I don't even know. I think they used to be, I don't know if they're still around or not. I know that they did do like a closing down sale, but they may have come back after, because I've known a few places around Australia that have done that. Place called Stitches and Spice, and they used to be run out of, I want to say, Mittagong. And they would, like, selling off a bunch of stuff. So the fabric is from them. And the pattern was from them too. The floss for the witches, oh my gosh. The floss for the witches is a Halloween floss from Fiberlicious. So I don't even know what year I did that, to be completely honest. So this is again, the last floss tube I mentioned finding a kit at the Remakery in Windsor that has all the pieces for this. This is the stitch part. It needs a wash. A lot of these will need a wash, actually. But that will get turned into something eventually. This was a Stitchalong that I did with some people from the World of Cross Stitching magazine, I believe. Or it might have been Cross Stitch Crazy. It'll be one of them. Silver Springs. So this is like the main piece that like I've had a bunch of remnants for. But that is the finish. It's not my style. It wasn't my style at the time either. I was just wanting to be included in a group activity. The back is, I mean, look, this is the way that I stitch. It's not super messy, but I am a traveller. I don't like cutting and tying off and then having to restart and stuff. I just travel it a little. There are some mistakes in this, so like the one that I know of off the top of my head is the buttons. Oh my gosh, hands. I can't coordinate my hands today apparently. That way. There's no space in between two of those buttons. And by the time I realized, I was just like, you know what? I'm not unpicking it. I'm not redoing it. This is just how it is now. This was a Pinterest pattern, I believe. This, oh, this is a really stiff piece of Ada. I don't know how the hell I stitched this on there, but this was my first attempt at like a full coverage. And it's just like a vampire. The back is almost as solid as the Ada is. Like, the Ada is stiff. And, yeah, that's a little bit more pliable, but, like, the Ada is still very stiff. But that was my first full coverage-y kind of thing. And I did this... Let's think. I did this when I did the library course at TAFE. Because I did the library course before I did the youth work one. So, some time ago. This is also another one from around that same time period. So there's another Pinterest pattern. It's just a horde symbol, World of Warcraft. The Ada is cut out super weird and super close because I had shoved it into a frame that it didn't quite fit into. And then instead of like measuring and cutting or like lacing the back or anything, I just cut it while it was in the frame. So like at the back here you've got like this little tabby bit down here, because this was like where, when I had it in the frame, the clip at the bottom of the frame sat. So yeah, I didn't treat my old projects with the most respect. This is another Clouds Factory. This is a Colour Cascades and it's an opal. It's more of a purple than a pink. And it's David Bowie. And I stitched this when David Bowie passed because I was fucking devastated. That was a rough day. That really sucked. And in fact, I remember my housemate coming, or like when he got home from after work. Oh no, it wasn't even before that. He called me at one point because he was doing a job, because he's a wheelchair technician. He was like fixing someone's equipment and it came up on the TV, you know, David Bowie has died and everything. And he's just like, oh shit. Oh shit. So he finished the job and then called me, and then, yeah, I was not okay. Like, it's always weird when someone passes that you don't actually know, but it still hits really fucking hard, because, like, David Bowie, Chester Bennington, Terry Pratchett, and Anne Rice. Although, I will say, Anne Rice did once share one of my Anne Rice book reviews. I think I only did the one, but she shared it. She, at one point, knew I existed. Look, it's fan person things, fan goblin things. So this is another mystery stitch along. This one was Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery, and it was, I think, the Once Upon a Time stitch along. It's an old one. I started stitching them as called for. Oh god, hands. They're not cooperating. I started stitching them as called for. Then you can see where the Phantom of the Opera is. I decided to start getting fancy and use some variegated flosses. These were... So, I actually started from the Peter Pan. The Peter Pan is also on a variegated floss, but not as variegated. But I remember that, like, the pattern for Phantom came out. I was a little bit behind, So I wasn't up to date. I wasn't up to stitching that one. I hadn't stitched the frame yet. And Phantom got announced, and I'm just like, oh, Phantom has to have a special frame, though, because I fucking love Phantom of the Opera. So I went to Hobby Sew, which is / was a chain of sewing stores, but they have stock of like DMC and stuff like that in there, and they had Cottage garden threads. So that was my first ever Cottage garden thread, and that is the colorway Aster, A-S-T-E-R, because I still have some. So I saw it the other day when I was reorganizing my hand-dyeds and like dyed flosses and stuff. And then yeah, I just decided to get like super crazy with the last row. I was like, yeah, like it'll make sense. We have like not variegated to a little variegated to getting more variegated. But yeah, this was another Stitch Along there. It was my first Stitch Along, Mystery Stitch Along, and I did not keep up. I have trouble keeping up with Stitch Along, so I don't do them very often. But that is the end of the box finishes, which has mostly just made me have an excuse to be like, special interest, show and tell. Again, it doesn't include any of the ones that I've got up on my walls or like framed and stuff, or things that I've given out as gifts. I may see if I can track down photos of some of those and put them in, because like I know that I've done the unicorn baby from Mauer-Stroh, as well as another version of the bat baby. I mean, there's some Harry Potter ones that I did for a friend. They are staying in the pit of memory because we don't support Harry Potter in this household anymore. That's not a thing. They were gifts. They are out of my house. There is nothing left in this house Harry Potter. I was never that into it in the first place, which is good, because the bitch went downhill. Way downhill. And I will die on that fucking hill because I am a trans person. Like, it's just, yeah. I am trans, I'm queer, and I'm autistic. So, like, yeah. That is a whole tangent, rant, rabbit hole. But those projects will stay forgotten about. But I might be able to find some more finishes and stuff that I've done. I can grab some photos of the ones that I've got, like, framed and stuff and put them in. But that's basically the box of finishes. And it's going to go back onto my shelf. I'm going to put the lid on it so it doesn't collect any more dust. I will at some point have a look at washing some of this. And hopefully, in the next couple of months, we add some more projects to it. Or we fully finish some. We'll see what happens. Whatever comes first. Should probably just adding more things into the box, because who's got spoons to actually fully finish things all the time? Because it's not me. Because it also requires like thinking about what you're going to do with it and then actually doing it, and that's a time. But I'm going to head off because this has ended up being a much longer video than I thought it would be. I think I had more finishes in there than I thought, and still somehow managed to just ramble for almost an hour, so thanks for watching. I will be back with a regular video at some point.